All right, we're gonna start the stream here. Learn to code. Learn to code. We're doing it. Gonna close some things down. Make sure that people have the right link to the stream. Make sure the stream is
Neek's mic
public
is off,
today.
so maybe it's evident.
Yeah, make sure the stream is public today. I'll put the stream link in here for y'all in case you have better luck with the latency on the YouTubes. And then I will also put it in the Matrix chat. Learn to code. We're doing it. We're doing it live today. And I want to make sure that I'm sharing my screen from here. Cool. All right. So your votes were tabulated. All right. We always do this on the second day. The winner is the mobile OBS tool for streaming on the go. Right. And I'm gonna make sure that we are streaming because yesterday it was private for a while. So let me just check YouTube, the tubes, ba 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 ba, content, videos, live, public, wonderful, great, and that's my face right there. Cool. So you can watch from YouTube. You can watch from the Multiverse Campus. The winner of this week 3 group project is the mobile OBS tool for streaming on the go. Right, round by round breakdown. We have Deprogram Grandpa was out first. How many ballots? We had 8 voters. 8 voters? That's great. It won in 7 rounds. Mobile OBS tool. Cool. So not super unanimous, but got some votes there. So that's great. Oh, we got some people heading to YouTube. Yeah, you might have better luck on the tube. But OBS, what is OBS? You're like, that's just I don't even know what that is. All right, OBS, it's Open Broadcaster Software. This is OBS, right? Get a nice little feedback loop going. OBS is a tool that we use, free open source software. Millions of people use this to record video, live stream from their computers, game streaming, journalism, activism, teachers, right? This is Learn to Code class. We're teaching, we're on YouTube, right? If you've ever watched a Twitch stream, YouTube stream, TikTok stream sometimes with overlays and scene transitions, you're probably looking at something that was made on OBS, right? The problem with OBS is that it only runs on desktops, and that's annoying, right? There are mobile frameworks, but there's not like a mobile version of OBS that's a go-to for everyone. Lots of subscription software, lots of weird software, like half-built software. So yesterday we voted, and today we're going to dig into what we chose, right? Mobile OBS. Own your stream. I'm genuinely excited about this one. This is like almost like a self-serving application build this week because I want to be able to stream while I go on my long distance runs. I'm running the marathon, the LA Marathon, March 8th. And so I want to be able to stream that. And I know that's ridiculous, but if I can do that, we'll throw it up on the mobile OBS stream. So this session, we're going to talk a lot about streaming. We're going to talk about the code behind streaming. We're not going to do a lot of building today, but we are going to learn a little bit about the code, how the architecture works, what that code looks like. And then next session, Wednesday, is going to be a big building day. So we're building right now, right? Like this, like ideation philosophizing, waxing poetic on computer things, that's not less important than coding. You cannot build something meaningful if you do not understand what you're building, why you're building it, who it's for, right? So, anyone is, I guess this is my time for discussion, right? Did everyone get a chance to vote? And if you didn't, did you vote for something else? Do you feel skeptical about this project build? Feel free to chime in. This is just our quick little morning check-in. Streaming works, cool. And streaming works. Astro Doctor Mr. 4482, what is up in the YouTube chat? Thanks for the glizzy. Yeah, mobile OBS. That's what we're building this week. I voted. I just did not know OBS. Yeah, open broadcasting software. If you want to stream, you should know OBS. When we're streaming, we use OBS. It's a open broadcasting software. It's great. So this will be kind of like almost like our streaming Learn to Code week, which I think is important because a lot of us are kind of like content creators in our own right. So, cool. The people have spoken. Mobile OBS wins. Why do I think this won, right? We had 8 votes. People did vote for this. People did have it as their first pick. I think it's because mobile OBS speaks to something, right? This is real, right? Everyone has a phone with a camera. Most people's best cameras are their phones, right? Their phone cameras, right? You know, like not everybody has the $100 webcam or whatever. So OBS runs on Windows, Mac, and Linux. Millions of people use it, right? Content creators, gamers, journalists, and it's kind of the standard out there. But desktop only, again, right? And they've explicitly said that they don't really have plans for a mobile version. They're not going to build it, right? So that means the only way to stream from your phone right now is mostly through these like corporate social media apps, right? Twitch has a mobile app. YouTube has mobile streaming. TikTok has their app. Each one locks you into the ecosystem of the app you're using, right? Instagram has their you know, you're in the ecosystem. So what we're going to build this week is PWA. And that stands for Progressive Web App. It's a website that acts like an application. It runs in your phone's browser. We don't need to pass it through the App Store. We don't need Apple or Google Play gatekeeping us, right? And so we'll open the URL. You know, at the end of the week when we have this mobile OBS application built, we'll open the URL and we'll have our streaming app there. Browser gives us access to the camera and microphone through standard web APIs. That's application programming interface. Basically, a bunch of technical fancy schmancy words for saying we're going to build built-in tools so that your browser, so that your mobile browser will allow you to stream from it. That video gets sent to a server that we control. And then from there, we push it to any platform. So we could push it to Twitch. We could push it to YouTube. We could push it to Instagram. We could also post it to our own custom websites, right? The key insight here is that we own the pipe, the people's pipe. That's weird. It's, you know, like the pipeline should be public, right? OBS being desktop only, a little bit of deeper context for y'all. OBS being desktop only, this open broadcasting software, it's kind of a historical artifact at this point. It's like from a time when streaming from your computer, broadcasting from your computer meant sitting at your desk with your gaming PC, right? Or your program that you're a teacher. But over the last, 10 years, streaming has evolved, right? People stream protests, people stream from the field, people stream while running marathons, while marching, while working, right? The tools haven't caught up because the platforms prefer that you use their mobile apps, which give them control over the experience, the content, the data. So this isn't really an accidental gap by any means, right? The reasons that these like social media platforms want control over your content is complete. It's by design. It's the structure of these programs. So streaming as infrastructure, right? Yeah, I wanted to learn more about stream. Yeah, we're learning about streaming today. We're learning about streaming. We'll go get you schooled on some streaming stuff. I know everyone has this like. I feel like if you're a techie, if you like using computers, if you're learning to code, everybody has that thought in their head. Like, I should be streaming this. Like, I've been working on this code thing. I should open up my dev process and bring in, stream it to Twitch. So this is kind of like, yeah, our streaming symposium, so to speak. But streaming as infrastructure, streaming as sovereign infrastructure. Sorry, one second. When we stream, right, we're actually like setting up this sort of sovereign infrastructure. Visibility of struggle. Why is it important to stream, especially stream mobily, like in the field at a protest? Visibility of struggle, number one, right? This is the most concrete argument for why we should set up this mobile streaming tool. Live stream footage from Palestine, from picket lines, from police encounters, ICE encounters in the U.S., from strikes and demonstrations around the world. These provide us with unedited evidence. There's no editor cutting the narrative, no 24-hour delay on these videos, right? And no corporate filter, right? So a phone stream from the field, from the ground, tells usually a fundamentally different story than a news helicopter shot from above, a news team like shooting something with a crew. Both footages can be real, but they serve very, very different interests, right? Direct communication is another important thing about streaming as infrastructure, right? Streaming lets workers talk to workers, organizers talk to organizers, small creators build audiences without permissions from a mega corporate media company. And this matters, right? This matters for our own sort of like auto-ethnographic history, right? If you want to reach more than a few dozen people and you have a message, you usually need like before like you usually would need institutional backing. Like, let's go back like 10-20 years, right? 20 years you need some sort of broadcaster, right? 30-40 years we're getting into like you need lots of money, or maybe you're like a church or a union hall, right? Now all you need is your phone and a decent signal And I think that's a genuine shift in power that most people aren't taking advantage of when it comes to creating their content. And it does come with serious complications, right? Streaming is as infrastructure counter narratives, right? When the mainstream media will not cover something or covers it from a perspective that serves the elite, the techno-feudalists, a live stream audience offers sort of a counter audience. A live streamer can offer a counter narrative, right? This is why authoritarian governments clamp down on streaming, right? That's why TikTok is Oracle now. This is why Instagram, Meta, like, you know, it's like it's super easy to connect the dots here. And it's also why these platforms are under constant pressure to moderate sensitive content, which often means footage of state violence on the part of the state, right? This happens a lot. I mean, we know, we have eyes. We know what we've been seeing, right? So not to be too triggering. And content warning, trigger warning. We're talking about streaming. We're talking about, you know, things we've seen on the internet. So you just, if you're watching, like, discussion moment. When was the last time you saw something live streamed or shot on a phone that changed how you thought about an event? What did legacy media miss that the stream or the phone video catch? And I'll open it up to the floor. When was the last time you saw something live stream that changed how you thought about an event? We got people in the chat box. Feel free to put it in the chat box, or yeah, feel free to just throw it in the chat box there. All right, I'll give a moment more. As someone with PTSD, I'm seeing this is practicing being with things I'll need to record. Thank you. OBS manual is really helpful. As for when I saw something streamed, I'm not at liberty, but it's so important. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna I think this is like a bit too much of a. Might be too much of a question, but you know, a lot of the live streamed like ICE protests definitely change how I think about the event, the ongoing event, and. I think that we all like I see so many people now responding to responses of what happened in January, primarily with Renee Good and Alex Pretty, and just the atrocious stuff happening all across the world, but in Minneapolis. And a lot of that was, you know, sort of an advent of having access to the recordings, seeing stuff from the perspective of a phone camera or from a police camera. And it's like, I think that it's important to see those points of view. Otherwise, we're looking at protests as you know, riots or like groups of people doing something. And yeah, it's uncomfortable, right? But we all kind of witnessed things that we don't want to see. It reminds me of like, kind of the introduction to just the bad internet as like a kid growing up in the early 2000s, having like your friends like older brother being like, oh, come watch this video, and you just see the worst thing you could ever possibly imagine, right? And now it's like that is my Instagram feed. That is it's like sandwiched in between my friends doing karaoke is like state executions, right? Not to be too dark or anything, but and what does legacy media miss that these streams catch? Well, everything, a lot. In America right now, I feel like a lot of legacy media is either completely suppressed by the current administration or it is just state regime media. And so it's important it's important to kind of like build factual like perspective based media through actually like being in the space. Yeah. Where are you getting the information? Who's the expert telling you this? It's like, no, we watched it with our own eyes. Yeah, I think that's a good point, Ted. So this brings us to who owns your stream, right? Who owns the stream? And sorry that I didn't realize, like, as I was making this, I didn't realize how like hot buttony a lot of this is. But that's learning to code in 2026. It's always actually been learning to code. Frankly. I don't think we can talk about streaming without talking about the the techno feudalism as it all. Once again, we're bringing up that word. What does it mean, right? When we look at techno feudalism, we have to look at the overlords, the landlords, the fiefdoms, right? So naming them, I feel like helps, right? Twitch is now owned by Amazon, right? You can subscribe to Twitch accounts with your Prime account. Use your Twitch Amazon Prime subscriptions and subscribe to media that you want to support. Use it. That's like one thing I can say. If you have an Amazon account, still use that Amazon Prime account, make your Twitch account, and subscribe to somebody that looks like they're doing something cool and radical. YouTube is owned by Google, right? It's an Alphabet company. TikTok is owned by ByteDance, and now TikTok USDS Ventures, which is Oracle in the US. So every major streaming platform is a subsidiary of a corporation with hundreds of billions of dollars. Largest corporations in human history, right? So when you stream on Twitch, you're creating content for Amazon. People don't really think about that, right? When you stream on YouTube, you're generating data for Google's ad machines. This is not conspiracy, right? This is not me being tinfoil hat, right? It's literally the business models that we're interacting with on a daily basis, right? They're publishing it in their quarterly earnings. These are what are in the economic reports, is people's content being made as a form of revenue, right? So that extraction, how does it work? A creator streams on Twitch, they build a community, the viewers subscribe, right? Twitch takes around 50% right now, I think, right, of that subscription revenue, because they're setting up the machine, right? They take a cut of bits as well, which are like tips. They run ads that the creator can't control and doesn't really benefit from, right? They harvest all that data, who's watched it, how long, what they clicked, what they said in the chat, the actual video content. And as a creator, you're doing 100% of the labor, right? The platform's capturing most of the surplus. Um, I mean, like, yeah, I guess they're setting up the distribution platform for it, and giving you access to a potential audience. But I still feel like with Twitch, with TikTok, with any of these sort of streaming platforms, it's textbook exploitation, right? The people who create the value do not own the means of production, right? They don't control the distribution of what they produce. So it's like they're saying, oh, we're offering you distribution. But in reality, like, you can build your own mechanisms to distribute your art. Like, just remember how like art works. Like, figure it out. We can figure this out together. And the risk here is that the platform can take all of your audience away from you. They can take the platform away from you. Last week we talked about Google banning Gemini subscribers and locking them out of their Google Workspace Gmail accounts. It's the same company that owns YouTube. I actually, and when to be clear, you're watching this on YouTube. I'm streaming to YouTube. When I say bad things about YouTube or Google, I'm not talking about YouTube. This is a parody of, this is educational content. It's a parody of somebody who is anti-capitalist. I don't actually. I love YouTube. I love Google. But the same company that owns YouTube is banning people for, random reasons. They know it when they see it, right? If you build your entire livelihood on TikTok and they decide that you violated their terms of service, you can lose everything. Your audience, your archive, your income source, right? No appeal, no due process. That's just their algorithm that is making that call, right? So, yeah, the sort of like techno feudalism framing, Varoufakis, we talked about them. We've moved beyond this sort of capitalism into something that is being deemed techno feudalism, right? What is techno feudalism, Neek? We don't know what it is. So in classical capitalism, profit comes from selling goods in a free market, right? We love capitalism. We're all great young capitalists. In techno-feudalism, big tech platforms function as those digital fiefdoms. They charge the rent to everyone who operates within their territory. Twitch streamers are not entrepreneurs in a free market, right? They are digital serfs working land that they will never own. This is an important sort of separation, and that's, I'm not trying to hate on Twitch streamers. I'm just saying this is the reality of the techno-feudalistic world that we live in. The Lord Jeff Bezos of Amazon extracts rent simply by controlling that infrastructure. And yeah, I guess you could say Jeff Bezos doesn't own Amazon anymore. All right. Well, yeah. No, he doesn't own Amazon anymore. He's just sending Katy Perry to space and doing cool projects and being bald. The relationship between a Twitch streamer and Amazon is closer to that of the serf to a lord than to a worker to an employer, right? And if you are a Twitch streamer, you may have felt that way, right? So I guess this is where we make it personal, right? Has a platform ever taken something from you, banned, demonetized, shadow banned, deleted your content? And what has happened? Has anyone had experience with this? Give a moment for responses. Have you ever been shadow banned, class? Has a platform ever taken something from you? I could tell my own story. I have had accounts banned, content suppressed, been somewhat shadow banned on certain accounts. Um, oh wow. Oh, this person says putting custom designed dress inspiration drawings and having someone say it was theirs. Stores was shut down for a while. Yeah, so you could get flagged, you could get reported by other users, and that could also be a path to getting your stuff, banned or flagged. And the shadow banning, you don't always know when it happens. I mean, if people are like incessantly sort of checking the views and the likes on their stories and stuff, you could see sort of the trail of shadow banning. But for the most part, it's not something. It's shadow banning. It's not something that you're completely aware of immediately. Um, wow, that is rough. This person had issues uh, with censorship being banned, and then the wild racist. Other things are reported. The response was, "It doesn't go against community rule." Dang. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we one of our things that one of our like options for voting on was an algo speak dictionary, which is important right now because if you notice, like if you've watched your favorite streamers and stuff, they have ways of saying things that help them clear through sort of the keyword AI combs of these platforms, right? Whether it's schmacist or Yahtzee or unalive or pew pew, right? And it's like that is some 1984 ass shit, right? Like we are completely censoring ourselves. Um, uh, and it's whatever, like some people can get away with saying more than others too, I've noticed. And it's anyways, ban, demonetize, shadow banning, deleting your content, that's all stuff that happens if the platform decides they don't like your stream, right? Uh the core argument I've seen with Twitch is that it always undervalues creators because it's integrated into Amazon's shareholder capitalism, right? So the platform depends on unpaid and underpaid cultural labor, and will never compensate it fairly because doing so would reduce its margins. They care more about the bottom line, right? And this puts us as content creators in a trap because we need a platform for discovery. We need a platform to grow our audience, but the platform needs us more, and it will compensate us less for that necessity, right? We're building these like digital company towns, right? The creators are we're the miners out here, right? miners. And the content is the coal in which we are mining. Anyways, attention is currency. We are heading into this future where compute, attention, these are resources, right? Streaming platforms. Attention as a medium of exchange, streaming exchanges, attention exchanges. So there's a whole body of work on the attention economy. I'm not going to belabor that, but the basic idea is that in an information-rich world, which we are in, human attention becomes the scarce resource. Streaming platforms are built to capture and repackage potable and portable, rebuildable, reusable, that attention into monetizable assets. Your eyeballs, your brain, your attention has a dollar value. Your watch time has a dollar value. Your engagement, your clicks, your chat messages, all of it gets converted into something weird, and a platform can sell that to advertisers. So this is what I mean when I say, like, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. Except on Twitch, on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, they kind of like make this idea complex by offering you by monetizing the creator in a way. You're still the product at the end of the day, right? Like you're almost more so the product in these situations. And these subscriptions, the subscription model is becoming more of a utility structure, right? Data from mid-2025 shows that streaming subscriptions are among the last expenses that people cut when money gets tight. So people will cancel their gym memberships. They'll eat out less. They'll buy less groceries. They won't buy new clothes, but they'll keep their Twitch subs. What? Doesn't make any sense. It's because streaming's positioned itself as an essential social structure. I get my news from Hassan Piker, and I watch it every morning, right? This is how I connect with people. And at, $5-7 a month, it feels cheap enough to feel like a necessity. And so that gives these platforms enormous leverage that they appear that they've made themselves indispensable in people's daily lives. It's by design, right? Another thing called the enclosure of the commons, right? What the platforms have done essentially is that digital version of what the fiefdoms and the landlords did to common land in England centuries in common land in England centuries ago, right? So sorry, I got tripped over my words there. There used to be common spaces, right, where people gathered, shared, created. We used to have, we used to use the bathrooms together, right? We used to swim, saunas, platforms built digital versions of these commons. Like, that was what the internet used to feel like, right? And then they fenced them off. They charged rent. They controlled the access, right? So Twitch chat, the chat on a Twitch is a commons. The chat here is a commons. This is a town square, right? But they're owned. Every interaction, everything you are posting on this stream, me included, is generating data for our Google landlord. We love you, Google. We're building something that puts the commons back in common hands, right? This mobile OBS tool. There's second wave of attention economics. There's a theoretical article that frames attention as universal currency on digital platforms. The argument is essentially that we have entered a second wave where attention is no longer captured passively, right? So passive capturing of attention is like you have a television ad, a magazine ad, right? Now it is actively extracted through participatory formats like streaming. So when you watch a stream, you're not just passively consuming, right? You're chatting, you're subscribing, you're clipping, each action is a form of labor that generates value for the platform. This is organic marketing, right? The streamer's labor is obvious, right? But the viewer's labor is hidden, more insidious too, right? Both are, the extraction of both is like intense, but I would say the extraction of the viewer's labor is more insidious, right? And we're like building out this sort of completed version of the attention economy. Everyone is in the system simultaneously. We are all consumers, producers, and commodities. There's an industry report put out by Digital Content Next earlier in this summer, July of 2025, that shows that streaming subscriptions stay strong amid economic concerns, as we were talking about before. The framing is corporate friendly, right? Consumers value streaming, but when through our perspective, through the lens that we've been discussing, these platforms are actively engineering that dependency, right? People keep paying not because the service is awesome and extraordinary and we love it, but because of the shitified, casinofied internet that we're interacting with. Because switching costs is hard, right? Your watch history, your social connection, your habits are completely screwed over by you deciding to go to another subscription or another product, and the alternatives are worse, right? Isolation, boredom, missing out on shared cultural moments, right? So this sort of logic is what keeps people in these exploitative roles within the attention economy, and it's also like what would keep you at a bad job, right? It's like the alternative always is going to feel worse. So that's why we want to own the stack. We want to build this mobile OBS platform, right? And that's, in my opinion, the strategic move. You know, what do? We can't opt out entirely. We cannot opt out entirely. The platforms have the audiences. They have the distribution mechanisms. They have the network effect that we're looking for. If you want to reach people, you probably need to be on at least one of the platforms. But here's the key distinction, right? There's a difference between living in your landlord's building and using their lobby to meet people. We're building our own house, right? We might walk through that lobby to hand out flyers, but we're sleeping in our own house. We built it ourselves, right? And your server is your home base in this weird home analogy, right? The architecture is simple in principle, right? Your phone, you're going to use your phone to be your streaming hub, right? It's capturing the video. It sends that video to a server that you control. Could be a $5 a month VPS, right? Virtual private server. Basically a computer that you rent in a data center somewhere. It's like renting a locker inside a warehouse, right? Providers like Hetzner or DigitalOcean, those are cheap options, right? It could also be a computer in your closet. It could be an old phone. We figured out how to throw this on an old phone, right? So from that server, you can restream to Twitch, YouTube, or a custom website. But your primary stream, your canonical copy, lives on your infrastructure, right? If Twitch bans you tomorrow for playing somebody's music that you don't own, you still have your server, your archive, your stream, right? And what's critical is that the community is going to live elsewhere too, right? The real community, the mutual aid, the organizing, the discussion should live on tools that you control. So we'll look at signal groups, a matrix server, a forum on your own website, Mastodon, right? Use the streaming platforms for what they're uniquely good at, which is live presence and discovery. Hello, you're watching this on YouTube, right? But don't let them own your relationships. At the end of the day, the Twitch moderation shows, the research on Twitch moderation shows that real politicization and mutual aid happens in the chat box, in the chat cultures, right? If Twitch owns that chat, Twitch owns your community. Move the chat layer to tools you control. That's the no-brainer, right? So we're not pretending that we can escape the entire stack of Google, Meta, Twitch, Kick, whatever, you know. Your phone runs iOS or Android. Those are both corporate, right? Your network is controlled by an ISP. Your VPS probably runs on Amazon or something similar, right? We're not building this sort of like utopian non-corp, like it sucks. We have to touch down with the enemy someday, right? But we're moving from this sort of they own everything stack to they own some things, but the critical parts of the stack are ours. This is a meaningful difference, right? Ask any renter what it would mean to own even one room of their apartment, right? Discussion moment. What would change about how you use the internet if you owned your own tools? What would you do differently? And let yourself dream a little bit. Feel free to answer in the chat or mic up. But this is where the sort of political framing of this mobile OBS build becomes aspirational, right? We can build this together with what we want from it, right? Some of you might talk about privacy. Some might talk about creative freedom. Some might just talk about not seeing as much ads, right? All of it's valid, right? And that's kind of what we're building. So what would change about how you use the internet if you owned your own tools? All right. And while you're coming up with answers to that, the anti-feudal stack, right? The anti-techno-feudalism stack, practically, right? Phone workflow, your camera, there's a mic on your phone. RTMP capable app, or in our case, PWA, sending to your RTMP server. Server restreams to platforms as needed. Community communication happens on federated, self-hosted tools. The key innovation of our project is that the RTMP capable app part doesn't exist as an open source PWA. There are native apps, right? We have Stream Labs, mobile, Lyrics, Prism, but they're all platform dependent or proprietary. You have to pay subscriptions to them. We are building the missing piece, right? So, how it works, right? I just threw a bunch of acronyms at you. I'm sorry. I'm like, but so how it works, right? There's a few new terms coming at you, so let's just name them up front. A PWA app is a progressive web app. It's a website that acts like an application. We don't have to pass our content through the Apple Store or Google Play anymore to make an app. You just walk your users through saving your web page as add to home screen, and it'll make a little app icon, and it works just like an app, runs in the browser, no app store needed, right? What's a WebSocket, right? So a WebSocket is a live two-way connection between servers, right? In this case, between your phone and a server. So normal web requests are like you send a letter, you wait for a reply, right? A WebSocket is like a phone call, right? The data's flowing from both directions in real time. This is what you need for live video. This is what you need for live audio, right? RTMP, what does that stand for? RTMP ingest. So RTMP is real-time messaging protocol. It's the standard language that streaming servers speak. So when Twitch or YouTube receive a live stream, they receive it via RTMP. Our server is going to speak the same language, right? VPS. VPS is a virtual private server. So this is like when it goes to Twitch, YouTube are your site. We're gonna store everything in the VPS, right? Your site, virtual private server. This is a rented computer in a data center. $5 a month if you want to make your own. We'll make our own as a class. And then we have FFmpeg is another acronym. So this is a free open source tool that converts videos between formats, right? Swiss Army knife of video. So our server uses it to take raw video chunks from your phone and repackage them into that RTMP real-time messaging protocol stream that the platforms will then understand. Sorry, bunch of acronyms coming at you. So looking at these, right? Your phone is running our web app in the browser. No app store is needed to get this up, right? The app accesses your camera and mic using standard browser APIs. Then it sends the video data over a WebSocket connection to a server that we're controlling, and that server runs the RTMP ingest, which is just the program that knows how to receive and forward video streams. And from there, we push the stream to Twitch or to YouTube or to TikTok or to Instagram or to your own website or to all three of them at once, right? We can have a simul broadcast tool with this, right? Green versus pink. So the colors, right? What do they mean? They have meaning, right? Green means we own it. You own the phone. You own the PWA code. You own the server. Pink means optional syndication, right? Twitch and YouTube are there if you want them, and you might want them for discoverability, right? They're endpoints, not requirements. Your site is green because you can host a FFmpeg player on your own website, and your audience can watch it there directly. You don't have to rely on the corporate middlemen, right? Why are we building a PWA? We're building this as a PWA because we want it to run on the phone's browser. Why not a native app? 3 reasons, right? One, no app store. It's really, you got to pay money to get your stuff through the app stores, right? Apple and Google both review, and they have like a we'll know it when we see it policy. They'll reject apps from the app store. A PWA bypasses that entirely. 2, we're looking for cross-platform by default. We don't want to have to build an iOS app and an Android app, right? It's going to work on iPhone. It's going to work on Android. It'll work on your laptop, right? Anything with a modern browser, right? 3, it's what we already know, right? We've learned this stuff in class. We can build a PWA with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? So the same tools that we've been using for the last 2 weeks, we'll be putting into the code for this mobile OBS tool. We're not learning a new language. We're applying what we know to fix a new problem, right? So the key tech that we're going to be using, browser APIs are going to be doing the heavy lifting. We'll look at the code for the browser on the next slide. But why do we feel like this architecture has like political significance at the moment? Every node that you own, all the green nodes, right? They can't take from us, right? If Twitch changes their terms, maybe we just don't syndicate to Twitch, right? If YouTube demonetizes you, your archive's already on your own server. It's okay, right? The architecture is the politic, right? Decentralization isn't just a technical pattern, right? It's a form of organizing our applications. It's just about distributing power the same way that a workers' union would distribute power, right? We ensure that no single entity within the workflow has a choke point over the whole system. And it's important, right? And thinking about decentralization when we're designing the applications that we build is also important, right? So let's read some code here. All right, so this is our little teaching moment. This is like where we're actually like learning to code a little bit. But you know, it's light today because we're still kind of in ideation. But this is how we build our code literacy, right? We're not just watching me like type stuff out on the computer. We're reading together. We're reasoning through it, right? So line one is sort of our organize these super weird. This is us asking the phone basically this get user media. Can we use your camera and connect to your microphone? So this is when the browser pops open the dialog box. The user will say yes. And now we have that streaming object, which is a live feed of video and audio data. Notice this facing mode. That means the back camera, right? Super simple, right? Or selfie, you know. If we wanted selfie, we'd write user. So facing mode, user, environment, right? Width 1280 by 720. That's a 720p video. Good enough quality. It's not going to kill your phone's battery, right? The section 2 is we grab this video element, right? Document.get element by ID. One line. Now the user can see what the camera sees live in the browser. So this is your preview window. This will be like our OBS preview, right? Here's our media recorder, right? So this is the recorder. We give it our stream. And sorry, I don't know why this is like up here like this. And we tell it what format to use, right? We're using, I think, VP9 for video, Opus for audio, wrapped in WebM, right? So these are open formats, and that's kind of what we're going for with this build. They're not proprietary. We're not locked into anyone's codec, right? And then lastly, we have this on data available. So every time the recorder has a chunk of data ready, every time we're sending data from our phone, this function's going to fire, right? We check that the chunk isn't empty. We send it through that WebSocket that we were talking about with the socket.send. And that's the whole transmission right there. Your video leaves the phone and it goes to your server. And then this start 1000, we tell the recorder to fire every 1000 milliseconds. So every second, a chunk of video gets sent to our server. In a real implementation, we could tune this number. 1 second is going to be a solid starting point for when we start testing this thing. So look at this code. What do you think it does? Don't worry about being wrong. This is where the code literacy happens, right? And I know it's kind of all over the place here with these scroll bars. So, but that's essentially like the walkthrough of the basic code that we're going to be looking at with this program. So we used document.get element by ID. This one, we use this in our terms of service project, right? Event handlers in the browser extension. This is the same pattern, right? So the media recorder, the get user media, those feel new, but the underlying patterns we've seen, right? You get an element, you attach a handler, you respond to events, and that's kind of what we've been doing for the last 2 weeks. So again, this is not a different language. It's just a new vocab that we're picking up for the RTMP stuff. So next time, when we actually get into the build, we're going to write some of this code from scratch together and then write the server-side code for our mobile OBS application. And we'll convert these chunks that we're receiving. We'll like learn how to receive the chunks, and we'll convert them into an RTMP stream. Right? So the server code is going to be Node.js, right? Which is JavaScript running outside the browser, same language, different environment, right? So you already know the language, right? Being able to read this code, being able to write this code means that you can audit any streaming application, right? You can audit your vibe coded applications, right? You can look at what data is being captured and you can see where and how it's sending that video. Most streamers aren't going to do this, right? Most people can't do this. You just like blindly trust that the app is doing what it says, right? So we're actually kind of going to build the skill this week to verify trust with these applications. And trust but verify only works if you can verify, right? So code literacy is verification literacy. It's the difference between reading a contract and signing it blind. So it's kind of the meta lesson, right? We looked at terms of service and privacy policies last week. This is like being able to understand the code of what you're sharing when you create content. So this is radical infrastructure, and apologies for the boring stock photo in the background. This is not a clone. We're not building a Twitch clone, right? I want to be super clear. We are not building a Twitch clone. We're not trying to out Amazon. Why would we do that, right? We're building infrastructure. We're building a tool, a pipe that you control, right? So the difference, a Twitch clone would try to attract an audience and monetize that audience. Our tool tries to give you the power to reach whoever you want, however you want, without asking for permission, right? Think about what we're using, right? Accessibility of the tools. A phone, most of you have it, right? Browser, free. JavaScript, free to learn, free to run. If you wanted to take it to the point where you're building your own server, a $5 a month DigitalOcean or Hetzner server, right? And whatever time that you're gonna sweat equity of like learning how to do this, right? So that's the streaming setup that can reach thousands of people, right? 5 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe even, this was impossible, right? Browser APIs we're using, Get User Media, Media Recorder, WebSocket. These are all relatively recent additions to code, right? The web has become powerful enough to do these things like video streaming that used to require native applications with corporate funding, corporate backing, right? So we're using that power for something that the corporation maybe didn't intend, right? Remember yesterday we talked about there was like a medical convention where nurses pushed back on the branding surrounding the idea of like an AI nurse, right? And this is that sort of like cognitive dissonance that you see with the corporations where a company builds solutions for healthcare workers without talking to a single nurse, right? Code written about people that is never written with those people sucks. Right? That's the default mode of the tech industry right now. I have a great idea to support this group of people that I'm not a part of and I don't want to be a part of. We are doing the opposite, right? We're building a streaming tool because we're streaming. We need a streaming tool. We need to do this right now. I don't know about y'all, whether or not you're content creators, but we all should be. We all have content to share and content worth sharing. So again, with this, it's not like we're like staring at, you know, a blank canvas and just guessing at someone's needs from a boardroom. Like we are the users. We are the end users, right? JavaScript doesn't have politic, right? The same JavaScript that's powering Facebook, surveillance, ad platforms, you know, the casinofication and shitification of everything can also power your mutual aid live stream, right? Your band's live stream, right? The same Python that runs hedge fund algorithms and gross like crypto trading bots can set you up with stream overlays that track corporate malfeasance, right? Code, it's a tool. And tools themselves are neutral, right? They do not have politic. The people and the groups of people and the evil people who wield these tools are the ones that have the politics, right? So right now, the people that are wielding these tools are overwhelmingly building for shareholders that don't have human interest in mind. These are not humanist builders, right? We code together. We build for each other, and that is the radical act in and of itself, right? So, think about it, and take this into the day and kind of meditate on it before we start building tomorrow. If you had a streaming tool that was completely your own, no platform rules or algorithms or monetization pressure, what would you stream, right? Who would you want to reach? This is kind of this moment to get aspirational. Let yourself dream a little bit, right? Are you documenting your neighborhood? Are you streaming your band practice? Are you covering local government or committee meetings, right? All of that is valid, right? And all of that is exactly what this tool is going to enable, right? So take a moment with that and think, these are the use cases for our design, right? If you had a streaming tool that was completely yours, what would you stream? Who would you want to reach, right? Smartphones and streams are tools for witnessing and organizing under the empire, under the evil empire right now, even though they're products of that empire. And I know it's so weird to think, right? The live streaming platform space is a struggle over moderation, community norms, and political orientation, right? Read the terms of service for TikTok, Twitch, Meta. You'll understand immediately that these platforms are structurally built by design to extract creator labor and attention. Subscriptions function as de facto utilities in people's budget, which gives these platforms more power, and the counter move is to own your infrastructure and treat these platforms as optional syndication, and relocate community to tools that you control. So that's what we're building, right? Again, this is more so a practical reduction of dependency on these applications, which Liz is going to be teaching a great workshop on at the end of the week, I think. Yeah, we're gonna build this thing. So tomorrow, we got the why, we got the what, and next session is when we're going to start building it. But before you leave, I want you to start thinking about like where you would fit in building this thing. And don't feel like you need to actively be posting feature builds to the repo, but we would love if you did, and you're totally invited to. When we set up the repo tomorrow, that link will be available. So when we talk about UI, we're talking about user interface, right? So we have a front-end team, PWA, that's the progressive web app interface, the buttons, the layout, the camera preview, the stream controls, right? I am on OBS right now. This has a UI. This has a UX, right? I can stop the stream and then go away from you. But you can see my mic is signaling, and I'm clipping a little bit. I'm not going to yell into the mic. I was about to. If you like doing kind of HTML, CSS design work in weeks 1 and 2, this is your lane, right? Mobile first design, big buttons, clean UI. This is what the user sees and touches, right? Back end team. This is the server side, setting up the real-time messaging protocol, ingest, RTMP ingest. This is important stuff, right? You could put this on a portfolio, right? WebSocket relay, FFmpeg pipeline that converts incoming video into a streamable format. This is new territory for most of us, right? It's new territory for me, right? Node.js server configuration, command line tools, right? I'll walk us through all of these steps, but if you're the kind of person that already knows how to do this, please take the lead on it. If you're the kind of person who wants to understand how these things work under the hood, then this is where you want to be, the back-end team, right? Restream team, this is the distribution layer. So once our service has the stream, how do we push it to Twitch? How do we push it to YouTube? How do we push it to TikTok? How do we push it to Instagram, to a custom endpoint, right? So this involves the RTMP routing, managing stream keys, and building a simple UI to toggle which platforms are receiving the stream. So if in earlier projects you liked working with APIs, application programming interfaces, remember built-in tools that let different pieces of software talk to each other. This is important. We need to remember what API stands for. If you liked working with those APIs, this is your fit. Restream team, right? And then we got the features team, right? Overlays, chat integration. How would I make a little chat appear right over here when you got like, that should be what's happening with the YouTube, right? We should be taking in all the YouTube and the Multiverse Campus chat. It should be showing up somewhere here. Maybe we'll start streaming from this tool when we build it, because again, it's not just going to be mobile. It could be on a browser, so I'd be able to stream to the browser. The Restream team, so the front end team can't test without the back end. The Restream team depends on both. So these are the features team. The features team is working mainly on these like overlays, chat integration, stream health and monitoring, right? What if the stream had a health indicator, like what if the stream health indicator was a Pokemon, you know? What if the overlay had personality, right? This is where we start getting into sort of the fun, creativity, creative coding moment, right? If you gravitate towards fun stuff, the features team is the team for you, right? And making things that people actually enjoy using. This is your team. Team stream. I'm saying a bunch of like different words that rhyme with each other, and it's confusing me. There's no wrong team. Every team's essential. You could be part of multiple teams if you want. This is low stakes, right? And this is how real software, real applications get built. We have different people, different skills. We're working on the same project. So this is our third project. This is our third week. We shipped a browser extension. We shipped a privacy rating system. Now we're building streaming infrastructure. Think about it. Think about that, right? In less than a month, you've gone from learning to code to building tools, right? That's what we're doing. And think about which team you want to join. Next session, we're coding, and I will see you then. We have a little bit of time. I'll open up the floor. If anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, if you're skeptical about the project, right? Skepticism is productive. That friction is motivating, right? Maybe you could surface a design constraint or a use case that we didn't think of. I don't think this mobile OBS app will work because X. That's valuable, right? So yeah, questions, comments, concerns. I'll open the floor for 2 minutes and then we will end the stream. Okay. We're at time. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, and we'll start building this dang thing. And if you're not doing anything today, code something, right? Where's a good place for a new coder? A new coder. Like good place. I don't know. Here, watching these videos. But yeah, you can check out our past GitHub repos that are posted to github.com. Make a GitHub. That would probably be a great place to start. And there's great. So Liz has options for like they have a GPT that'll walk you through learning 7 languages in 7 weeks. There's also a 2-week Python course, GPT. Talk to your AI about learning to code. I know that sounds gross, but do it. They're helpful. They know how to speak computer. Anyways, I am going to head out. Good luck with all of your stuff. Code something today, right? Try to just code 1 line of code. Y'all are great.